All right, so good evening once again. You are all welcome to day 5 of learning Python programming language. So before we look at tonight's plan, we just want us to look at some of the things we did last time. Remember that we started looking at advanced data structure in Python. After we concluded the basic aspects of Python, where we discussed variable, we started looking at concepts that can hold multiple values. And I took my time to explain why that concept of using a single variable to hold multiple value was introduced as one of the way or method to reduce the weight of the program. Right? Out of the 4 to 5 advanced data structure that I mentioned, I think we only completed one of them, which is our Python list. Not just learning how to declare Python lists, we also went further to look at some manipulative functions, certain methods that can be used to update or manipulate an existing Python list. But before that, we did define that Python lists is one of the advanced data structure that can hold multiple values in a single variable. And we also learned how to declare it. In other words, the syntax, which I said is a rule or set of rules that govern or that specify how a program is to be spoken. Looking at the syntax here, I drew our attention to the type of brackets we use, because the ones I'm going to introduce in this session, you will see that none of them will use the square brackets. So they all have their unique brackets, though we have two that uses the same brackets, but they don't really function the same. So this was the list. So we created a list of products. In other words, a single variable called product holding a different product value: laptop, flash drive, speaker, phone, speaker. I think we were trying to explain something that led to adding another speaker. And then here we also created a list of numbers, just for you to know that Python list can not only hold string, it can also hold numbers. And then we started looking at some functions that can be used to manipulate. To manipulate means to either add to an existing list or to remove. And we look at various ways we can update our lists. And that led to the consideration of some functions that we are exposed to in that class, such as append, which help us to add additional items to Python lists. And that will be at the end. That is what? After the very last value in the list. And then we'll also talk about how do we even check if Python actually recognizes that data structure as list. That was what led to using the type function, which we have discussed in one of those classes. And then we were also trying to understand what we call indexing. That is how, if I do want to print everything in a list, how do I pick some out? And that was what led to, exposing us to Python indexing concepts, which I told us that elements in an array, just like the elements we have in the list, has a numerical what positioning across all programming languages, not just Python. And I said that the very first element is at index 0 because the counting starts from the empty space before it. And then I also explained, though we erased some of them, but this is the only one remaining. So this is where I was showing us how you can also use the same concept, but using a negative value to call out a list value. That is from the right-hand side, adding negative sign to the number. And then here we introduce extend. And I told you that extend is also a function that is used to I told us that in a situation where you want to add more than an item at once to your existing list, you will need to use what? Extend, because append can only add one per time. And then that was what led to extend, and we were able to send 100 and 200 to this list using the extend. Remember the syntax, we have to wrap those value in a square bracket inside the extend. So these are some of the things, so you can go and watch the video and understand how we got to this place. So tonight we are taking it further. So we are still on Python Advanced Data Types. Python Advanced Data Type. I told them that data types are very necessary. Every programmer need data or information to program with. In fact, you can never program until you work with data. So that is why we are taking our time, because once we are done understanding both the basic and the advanced data type, we will now start building some real life applications. And what I'm doing right now is to prepare us, is to explain the fundamentals, some of the things you need to know, so that by the time you start building complex or intermediate or basic apps, when you see them reflecting, you understand why they are in that your program. So just for example, we start building app and you see me using append. By that time, you have already know why I am appending. So that is exactly what we are trying to achieve. And like the advice I gave to us the other time, just like Mr. Yomi just narrated before we started, it's good you discipline yourself. When you are a novice and you start learning a program like this, you have to make sure that you don't have too many teachers. There is time for learning. There is time for research. Once you have graduated, you can now deepen your knowledge through researching here, researching there. But sir, if I want to research, if I want to research, while I'm learning, how am I supposed to research? Yes. For example, last time we looked at lists. So when you are researching, you research on that topic. It will help you more than you jump into other ones that we are yet to touch and that we will teach. Because at the end of the day, you will end up distracting yourself. So it's just an advice I just want to give to us there, so that you don't get yourself boss. It's very important. So like I said, we are still on what? Python Advanced data type, Python advanced data types. So this is the continuation of the last class. I know I have some new persons that just paid today that I added. So I've also sent the video, the video link to them. So for you to actually catch up with this particular class, I think you have to go and watch the first video, the second video. If you can jump the third video and then watch the fourth video before connecting with this class. That will help you better. Now, let's quickly look at the next advanced data type, which is tuple. So I want to start with tuple. That is the next one, advanced data type, tuple. So what is tuple? So tuple is can be defined as an order. Let me see if I can put it here so that we can understand it. Defined as what? An order. An order command, immutable collection of items that can be of any data type, command including string. Let me break it here so that we can see everything. Including strings, comma, integer, comma, floats, and order, even tuples. All right, so now we just have to know that tuple is another advanced data type, but yes, they all have common attributes, which is what? They can all hold multiple value. All of them have these attributes. But what is the difference between lists and tuple? The difference between list and tuple is that one, the type of brackets that will be used is different. So let's say for tuple, we are going to use this function bracket. Why for lists? Remember, we use this bracket. All right, that is one of the differences. Another difference is that the values you have in the lists, they are mutable, which means that you can alter, you can change them. But when we say is immutable, it means once you create a value in a tuple, you cannot alter it, you cannot change it. That is what we mean by what? Immutable. Okay, so but list is allowed. So, sir, if I am building a program, how do I know when to use? Because they all have common characteristics, such as what? They all hold multiple value. So if I want to, I'm developing a program and I want to use one variable to hold maybe as someone biodata, which could mean the person's name, even the name. We can have the first name, we can have the middle name, we can have the last name, we can have the state, the country. So I can use lists. But if I use lists, it means that there's particular storage that I've used to store maybe the person's states cannot, sorry, for list can be reused to store another value. So what list does is this. Let me see if I can demonstrate it for those that wants to understand it better. Now, like this, I just hope you understand it. So this is just like your list. This is just like your list. These are like, this is the list. Please, glory to glory. Can you, oh, don't worry, let me even help your ministry here. Now, this is just like your list. So these are allocated storage. These are allocated what? Storage. All this you are seeing, allocated storage. Let's say storage 1. Now, in that your list, let's say this is where you are storing what? A value. Let's say 50. And then here you are storing 60. And here, let's say you are storing 70 here. And then here, let's say you are storing 80. So now what we are saying is that once you add for list, I can come up and say, okay, I want to reassign value to this storage. So instead of this particular sector holding 60, anytime I can say, okay, I want to replace it with what? 70, 80, 90. That is list. But if it is tuple, once a value has been committed to this, you cannot change it. That is the meaning of what? Immutable. Immutable. Now, there are certain programs. That is why you see that there are some apps that are very flexible. When you make mistake, you can easily update some of the what? The value. Those, depending on how the program is stored, there are some apps that the person can decide to be very strict for security purpose, so that the app cannot be easily what? Corrupted. Somebody, instead of using list, can use what? Tuple. In that case now, once a value is stored, you cannot change it directly. You have to use another logic to what? To update it. So that is the second difference between tuple and what? Lists. Remember the differences. One, they use different what? Bracket. Tuple uses the function bracket, which is what we call the parenthesis bracket. While list uses square brackets, right? So haven't noted that. Now let's quickly look at the next that I want to explain here. So let's quickly look at the syntax. Remember, I always emphasize that one of the secrets of learning programming and understanding it is, instead of you paying attention to the logic, yes, it's good. Every programming has a logic, but pay attention, understand the syntax first. It is the understanding of the syntax that will actually make you to understand the logic of the program. So we need to understand that. So the syntax means what? How it means the format. How do we declare Python tuple? How do we initiate it? How do we create it? That is what I mean by what? Syntax. Now, we are going to start by giving a name, just like list. So I can just say what? T1. That is what? Tuple what? 1. T1, tuple 1. You can give it any name, but make sure it's not a keyword like I have already explained in one of the section. Now, that is tuple. Now, the next thing is I will open this bracket. So let's say the task is that we should create a tuple of what? Fruits, or a tuple of names, or a tuple of colors. So if I'm creating a tuple of colors, then, for example, I can just say, let me use more descriptive name. Let's say what? Color. Colors. So in other words, this tuple is to hold what? Color for me. Now remember, the colors are string. They are not number. Because they are string, I need to wrap them in what? String notation, which is what? Either single quote or double quote. So I can just go ahead and use, I say, okay, color red is the first one. Then you use a comma to separate the value in the tuple. So I bring in the next one. Let's say what? Color green, and then let's say The next one is color, let's just say blue. Let's just say blue. All right, so you can see if I run it to confirm, if I run it, you see that what? There is no error, which means that what? I have successfully created a Python tuple. All right, so now how do we now print the tuple? To print or output the tuple. How do we now display it? Remember that we are using our terminal to output, right? For now, until we get to what? Python what? GUI, where we can create an application interface that can be outputting the values we want the users to see. All right. So now to print the tuple, we just say print as usual, and then supply the name of the tuple. Once you type the first two letters, that we drop it, because the moment you created that color as the name of the tuple and you executed it, it has become a keyword in the program library or memory. So once I click now, this is it. Then if I run it, then you will get what? The output. Now, I am going to pause and I'm going to pause and test our memory, because it's something that I've done and somebody could as well be facing or face the same challenge. Look at this. I am running, but I'm not getting the report. Can anybody get it? Can anybody tell us? Can anybody debug it out? Why is it that I'm clicking here and I'm not getting the output and it's not throwing error that my code is not correct? So the line is open. The first person, I may have a gift for the person. Remember, one thing that we promise is that the best students at the end of this training will be given financial awards. So who can answer this question? Why are we not getting our outputs in our terminal? And there's no error.
Sir?
Go ahead, sir.
The absence of quotation marks.
Sorry?
The absence of quotation marks.
The absence of what? Sorry, I don't know if I can't get you very well. The absence of what?
Quotation marks.
Where? Is it inside here?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
No, sorry. Thank you for trying. It's good. If you don't try, you will not know whether you succeed or you fail. Please don't be afraid for trying. Thank you. Okay, glory to glory. Can you are raising up your hand. Can you help us out?
The color in the print should be a string.
The color.
Yeah, the color in the printout.
Here. Are you talking about here or here?
Yeah. No, down.
Here.
Yes.
It should be in a string. Are you saying it should be in a string? I can't hear. He has muted. That was the same thing the young man suggested. I need somebody who can get it. I think he's having network. Okay. Who can get it? Mercy Sam, help us out. I know you know it. Those people that don't want to talk, help us out, please. Wow. Okay, so let me help myself. I have so many people here that don't want to say anything. All right. So now the reason why we are not getting the output is that we are running a wrong file. Look at it here. Look at under the file you are working. Under my projects, I created two files. One is main.py. The other one is first_class. But look at what you are running here. You are running main file instead of what? First class .py. So how am I going to solve it? You come to this arrow here, click on it, then switch to what? Current file. and then run it, you will get your output, right? So let me turn off this. Let me turn off this so that we don't have too many outputs, right? Okay, so let me also comment the product lists so that we don't keep having. In fact, let me comment all the lists so that we can focus on the tuple we are dealing with right now. Right? Check whether I have. All right, so we have just the tuple we are working with. So we can see that we have the value of the tuple outputted. Now let's also look at some of the manipulation function, just like we did in the case of lists. All right, so let's know what is possible. Is there any way after we have created a tuple, we can tamper with the values just like we did with lists? So let's quickly look at what tuple manipulation methods. Manipulation what? Method. So now remember that tuple is what? Immutable, which means that you cannot change its value directly, just like the way we're changing the lists. But if we now want to manipulate it, there is a way you can do it. So the only thing we are saying is that you cannot go in directly and change and alter the content. So you have to use logic. So if I want to add, let's say, yellow to this tuple, because currently the tuple has 3 colors, red, green, and blue. So for me to add yellow, I am going to concatenate it. And the way you are going to, let me put it in the right context. So let's say what? Add yellow. Let's assume that is a task. So what? Color tuple. Add yellow to color tuple. So it means that you are going to create a new word tuple. To say the logic now, you are going to create a new tuple, then you will now concatenate the existing tuple, and then from there you now add another word item to it. So you can see, because we cannot directly change its value, we are going through this word long process. So I will say, for example, new color, new colors, for example, I will say equals to, then I will call the existing color because I want to add yellow to this. So which means that I will reference this one and concatenate the yellow. So you can see the logic. So I will just call color and then color. And then remember what I've taught us about concatenation. You use what? Operator clause. Then, because it's a tuple and you are adding a value to an existing tuple, you need to acknowledge the value inside the tuple bracket, which is what? This bracket that we use. Then if the value is a string, you put it in what? The string what? Notation. And then before you type the yellow. So you can see the process you have to go through before you can create a tuple. Are we together? So you have to add a comma there. You can see that it was throwing an error when I did not add the comma there. So if I run it now and check, now, since it did not return any error, it means that the update has taken place. Now, just like I told us the other time, for us to see the update is not in colors. The update is in what? New underscore what? Color. So if I want to see it, I have to print new color. I have to print what? New color. Then if I print it now, you see that what? It has added yellow. Why did we add the comma? Because we know that the item we have here, they are separated with comma, and you are bringing another item. In other words, that item needs to be separated with comma. So, but because you are doing what we call soft programming, you need to what? Add a comma to let Python know that after blue, there should be a comma before you bring in what? The yellow. Please, I want to get a response from at least 2 people that can tell me that, sir, I am following. Let me know whether we're actually following.
I am following, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm following.
Following too.
Thank you.
We are with you.
Thank you, my main man. Thank you. The only man that I've registered for all the program at the same time. Your brain a computer. All right. All right. So I just feel that I should give more opportunity to some people, because some people reached out to me and they were begging that we should reduce the 5,000, that they saw the ad. So they were actually thinking that it's on the 17th that we projected. You know, remember we said on the 17th of February before, and we brought it down. So a lot of persons are not following what we are posting in the group. So they are not aware. So they were just calling today to say, the program, is it starting February? I said the program have started. So, but they were arguing for the 1,000 naira that we initially advertised before we ended it. Because the challenge we're having is that we discovered that there are so many adults that we are hiding under the age of, the teenager. So there's no way we could verify it. That's why we closed that window. We said, okay, let everybody go for 5,000. But allow many of them. And because I allowed it, and I know I have some of us here that have some persons that probably maybe the 5,000 could not make them to join. So please, I'm going to open the window for 1,000 for this week we are entering. So if you have anybody that feel that I can see join, the person will get the videos that we have printed so far. Let them pay the 1,000 between now till Thursday. If you have anybody, let them pay the 1,000. We'll add them. All right. So so you can see that is the only. For example, remember that in the last class, there was something I did that exposed us to some other functions. But because we don't have that flexibility of tampering with things, I don't want to dwell too much on the tuple. So you can research on other method, but just to help you to navigate, if you want to check other associated functions that can be used, or logic, if at all, you can see that all those append, you cannot see them here because you are not meant to change directly. All those insert, you will not see them here because this data structure does not permit you to change things. That is why it's as if you can't do so much. That's why we are leaving it to the next one. But however you want to check, this is what you do. Remember the method I showed us the other time. Just say print, type what, dir, and then open a bracket, type tuple here inside, just like the way we did for list. So if I run this code, I'm going to get other functions, whatever. If in any way you can never see what is it called, those functions that can help you to modify what you have. So you can see that we can't see append, you cannot see you can see learn, which means that you can count what you have in the tuple. You can check the type of, so you can go and research more on those functions. But remember that you are not going to see a function that will help you to directly change the values in a tuple. Instead, you use this logic, right? So I don't want to waste time on that. So let's quickly look at the next data structure. I want to see if I can finish them so that in the next class, we start looking at maybe functions. The ones we have learned something about functions, then under function, maybe the next class, I'll look at control structure because there are certain things we need to understand before we can start building apps, particularly control structure, where you have all those if statements. If statement, there's no app that does not use those statements. So so that we don't waste time on things we can easily understand on our own with the little ones I must have explained. So let's quickly look at another advanced data type in Python, which is very, very important also. In fact, as a programmer, if I want to rank this advanced data type, I will rank it this way. I will rank lists, I will jump tuple, and then rank what? Dictionary. Okay, so that is my own way of ranking. Why? Because these are the ones that I use most in developing what? Most of the app out there. Now, let's look at it. This is going to be the third advanced data type, which is Python dictionary. We can abbreviate it to this, or you type it full. Python dictionary, Python dictionary. Now, remember, I keep sounding it. Sometimes all these advanced data type can confuse you when you do not take note of the bracket and the syntax you are using. In the case of lists, we use square brackets, like recapping so that I can bring you to the same spot. For list, we use this bracket. Then for tuple, remember we use this bracket. Then for dictionary, we are going to use this bracket. Please take note of this. Sometimes you can forget and start creating lists using the coiling brackets, and that will not lead to what? Error. So for dictionary, please, this is the bracket we use. All right. So let's look at the definition of it first before we start looking at some examples. So dictionary, look at this. Look at this. When we define tuple, we say what? Order. Order means that things are arranged sequentially or serially. 1, 2, 3. We say what? These items are in order. And in order. But in the case of dictionary, they are on order. Let me write it here so that we can see it. Dictionary can be defined as what? An, on, order. On what? Order first. Then mutable. Mutable. That is what we can temper. Sorry. Mutable. Mutable. Collection. mutable collection of key. Now, this is where we are bringing something that we have not discussed under what? The first two. Key together. Key value pairs. Keyword value pairs. So you need to understand this. Key value what? Pairs. That is what? 2 in 1. That is the meaning. 2 in 1. Let me continue. Where keys. Let me break it down so that we can see everything at once. If you're writing your notes, you can continue. Where keys are unique and where key are unique and map to specify or to specific, map to specific values, mark to specific value. Now, you see the logic here. Let's look at the syntax. I think let me go with the syntax first. Let me go with the syntax. So you can say the way I am training us, learn that way. Now, syntax, after knowing the definition, now let me get the syntax. From the syntax, I will now understand it very well. So the syntax will reveal to us what we meant by what? Key value. Now, I can say this is what? Dictionary 1. This is syntax, dictionary 1, then equals to, then open the brackets. This is the bracket we are using. Then inside that bracket, you start with the key. So I will just say key 1. Then column is what separate the key from the value. Then I will say what? Value 1. Right? Then I'll bring in comma. Then I will do what? Key 2. Then column again. Then value 2. All right? Then command key 3. The column. Then value 3. So this is how it continues. Now, this is what I want to break down here. This is just like nesting variables in a container with different value. Logically, that is what we are saying. Nesting variables. Because this is just like a variable. This is just like a variable inside the dictionary. And this variable, we are going to store either a number or a string inside it, or a boolean inside it. This is another variable that will probably hold another what? Value. So that is the center. Now let's look at the example. Example here is, so create a dictionary. This is how I'm going to put it, like in a word problem. So let's say what? Create a dictionary. Create Python dictionary, or create Python what? Create a dictionary that stores prosper biodata. Let's assume you are writing a program, you are building an app, and you want that app not to hold values. You want the app to store those values in what? Variable. Now you can see that the key difference between dictionary and the first two that we have explained is that the list and the tuple, they store values directly. So that was the reason why we were using index. That is why we're using index. That is why we're using index. That's why we're using index to call out what? The values. But in the case of dictionary, we cannot say 0 to call out the first value, 1 to call out the what? The second value, because dictionary have key. So those key are what you are going to use to what? To call out those values. So which means that if I want to see, if I don't want to print everything I have in my dictionary, I want to print only, maybe this is the first name, and I put Prosper here. And then if I want to print only Prosper from this dictionary, I will use his own key. I will use his own key to access it. That is exactly what we are saying. So we do not need to use what? Index. We do not need to use index. So that is one of the different. So I just want to highlight that so that we can take note of it. So now let's answer the question. The task. The task is we should create a dictionary that will hold my biodata. So I will say prosper underscore bio is equals to, then the coiling bracket, right? Or the coiling what? Bracket. Now, remember that syntax. So we are going to follow this structure. So what and what's Prosper what? Biodata. I want to collect Prosper first name. So I will say in a string, remember the structure? I'll say what? First. So first underscore name is going to be the what? The first key. Then I will what? Add a column. Then the name, which is Prosper, is a string, is not a number. So I have to also what? Look at it. You have to come outside. Sorry, Control Z. No, I have to come outside this. This is not where I'm supposed to add it. I have to come outside the word, the string that is defining the word, the key, and then add the word, the column, then bring in another string because the value, which is Prosper as my first name, is a string. So if it is a number, I don't need to what? To quote it. So I'll say Prosper is what I'm storing here. Then this is the key value pair. This is the key, and this is the what? The value. So I will come outside this and add a comma, and then I will open another string for the next key. The next key is the next information I want to grab about Prosper. So let's say I want to grab Prosper middle name. So I'll say what? Middle underscore name. Middle underscore name, and then I will come out here, then add a column, then that is also a string. My middle name is not a number, so it's a string. So I'll put it in what? String. So let's say what? A Dejoro. So now I want to also capture Prosper word states. You can break it. You can break it like if you feel that is too long, you can put a comma here first, and then you press it. All right, so you can have your code format like this. So the next one is the next key. So I want to capture Prosper states. So I put what? States here, then come outside the string, the column, and then state data is also a string. So I put that in a string. All right. Now I want to capture Prosper age. I'll come out here, put a comma, then bring in the string, then age. Now age is a number. So after the column, what you are going to do, you just type it. Let's say 90. You don't need to quote it. Then if you are also storing a Boolean value, let's say true or false, you just also type it without what? You quoting it. So remember all this. So I will just put what? Let's say this. So let's assume that this is what I want to collect. So if I want to collect his email, let me collect his email also. So I'll say email, then also the column, then email prosper.eguero@gmail.com. All right. So I'm done collecting this. So if I run it and I do not get error, it means that what? My dictionary is what? Correct. Now let me also check whether I have actually created a dictionary. So let me check for the sake of those that are just what journey. But when you watch the last video or the last two videos, you understand that I explain how we can actually check whether this is a dictionary. So let's say what using Python dot type function. Let's check data type. So what I will do is that I will just say what print. I will just say print. Then I will type what type, and then open a bracket, then supply the name of my dictionary inside, which is what Prosper. So I expect to get it bio. And then if I run this code, let's say class dictionary, perfect. So which means that what this is a dictionary. So now if I want to print the whole dictionary value at once, so to print dictionary values, the syntax will be the same way, print, and then pass in the name of what? The dictionary, Prosper, and then I will run it, and then you see what happened. You can see that well, it calls out both the key and the value. It calls out both the key and the value. So now we will now look at, okay, if I want to print only what Prosper. So let's say in my app, I want to see only Prosper. I don't want to see everything. How do I now use the key in the place of index we're using for list and what tuple to print out a particular word information only? All right, so that will be the next one. So what we are going to do now is that I'm going to give us 5 minutes. I know some of us have our what is it called? Our ID installed. So we're going to go on 5 to 8 minutes break. So when we come back, I'm going to show us how we can manipulate, because we said that it's mutable. We did not say that it is immutable. So there are a lot of functions or techniques we can use to tamper with what we have in our dictionary. So you can start now, start working, classwork for those that have their ID installed. And then the rest, you can refresh yourself. So I'll be back the next 5 minutes. Okay, so Moses, if you know how to share your screen, please kindly share your screen. Okay, we are coming on you now. Okay. If you can increase, okay. Okay, you have created a dictionary. Okay, Moses, you can stop sharing. Let me come on the Ify Joel. Please, quickly.
Okay.
Once I'm not on you, please kindly mute yourself to avoid this interference. Okay. So please kindly share your screen. Okay. All right. I think one other person said, yeah, was it Yomi? Yomi, please. I don't know. Someone else said, I think 3 people said they've done something. Let me just say, who is the third person?
I should stop.
Yeah, stop sharing. I just want to
Okay.
check the last. I know one other person said he has done something as well. Okay, so they're not clear from the person. So let's continue.
I'm sharing
Now,
my screen now.
who? You're me, right? Okay. Oh, yeah, kindly share. Let's see.
I've shared it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm Yomi. I'm also Borishade. I'm the one using both phone.
Okay. But I'm getting error here. Why the error? Have you rectified it? Or I'm getting
I'm
error
trying to
here.
look at it now.
Vehicle underscore car. Okay. Maybe we're using capital letter. Can you run it again? Let's see whether you're going to get it. We are supposed to see. Okay, you just check type. You just check type, right? Instead of printing the dictionary, you just check the type of data, and that is why it returns class dictionary. Okay, so which means that all right, so you can stop sharing. There is one other person that says that he has done something, but he's busy with his phone. No problem. So let's continue. Please order, please. We are all encouraged to try. Please, we have to try. It's very important. So let's please, okay, let me help my ministry here. So let's continue. So now we want to start looking at some of the manipulation function for Python dictionary, just like we did for other dictionary manipulation functions. Python dictionary manipulation function. So the first thing we want to achieve is if we want to add to the dictionary, or before we look at add, let's say I want to print one value from the dictionary. So how do we go about it? So to do that, what you are simply going to do is to, let's start with that. Let me put it in comments. For those that are writing, how to print specific dictionary value. So, for example, I want to print only the words, then the first name. So I'm going to say print, all right, print. Then you call the name of the dictionary, let's say Prosper, then select. You can see it now, that is from the whole of that Prosper Biodata Dictionary. We want to access a value. And that is why we are bringing in the square brackets. Now, if you call that first name, because this is not a keyword in the program, so you must quote it. You must quote it just like the way it's quoted here. You cannot just come here and type what? First name. So we are going to put it in quotation like this. And then to avoid typographical error, I will just copy it and then paste it inside. So if I run this now, it's going to what? Bring out what? Only what? Prosper from the whole of that dictionary. So you can see the logic now. You print, you call the name of that dictionary, use the square bracket, then you put that in a string. So if I want to print, let's say the Prosper H, let's say I want to print Prosper H. So what I'm going to select here is what? The key, which is what? The H. So you can see that this has saved us from using index. So you can't come here and say, you want to use 0 to select this. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So that is how you can print. Now, since we said that dictionary is what? Mutable, which means that we can update, we can tamper with the content. So that will not take us to how to add. I think I've typed it before. Okay, no. How to add new elements to Python dictionary. All right, so the syntax we go this way. Now, the task is we are to add prosper country to the dictionary. Let's say you forgot to mention the country as part of the biodata. So let's say add, the task is add prosper country to to the, okay, I think with this we understand. So the syntax will be you start by referencing the name of the existing dictionary first. That is just like you are saying that you want to add something inside this container. So you cannot add that thing without calling this container. So I'll first of all call this container, then if I will not call this that I want to put inside. So how do you call that? We know the name already as Prosper biodata. So we say from Prosper biodata, we want to select, you use this square bracket like this. And then is a string. We are adding the key. The key will come like this. So what we are selecting is the key. So which is the country. Like this. Then you will now equate it. You will now assign. Then the country name, which is Nigeria. My beautiful country. All right? So now, for you to confirm if you have done something, if you run it, once it does not output an error, it means is accepted. But we have to reprint the dictionary. That is where we will now find out whether the output will have included country, Nigeria, as it is here. So now, let's go there and reprint. So let me put this as comment to see the updates. Reprint the dictionary. To see the update, reprint the dictionary. So I will just say print, the dictionary name is Prosper Bio. And then if I run the code now, let's check whether we'll have it. You can see it here. I don't know whether we can see. Let me take this up. So you can see it here. It added it automatically. All right. So now that is one thing we can do. So if you want to learn other manipulative function, just go towards this also print the dir, then you type dictionary. Just type dix like this. You don't need to type it in full. And then run it. You are going to see other associated function. Now, in case you want to check outside here, where you get a kind of a comprehensive explanation, breakdown, even telling you the syntax. Let me just show us that method because I mentioned it the other time. So you go to that particular function documentation. One good thing about Python is that there are documentation for every of its function. So it's just for you to understand how to check it. So just open your browser and then just type on Google which of them you want to see its documentation. Let's say right now, dictionary. You can say list. You can say tuple. Now, let's say I want to ask Python. I want to ask Google, Python. So this is one place you can learn so many things, even beyond what I've explained so far. Python what? Dictionary, documentation. So once you run this, you will get different, you will see what? From its website. So which is what? Data structure. Python what? Documentation. So you check this, so you click here. Let's see. So from here, you should be able to navigate. So, but we have the one that says what? Python dictionary. That is the 3W skill. That is one of the platform for beginners. You can go there and master a lot of things. So you can see under the documentation, you can see most of the things we have done here. You can see these are for lists. So if you go down, you see some code, examples that you can emulate, then reverse. Remember that we talk about this, like the assignment I gave us. You can come here and, now, if you want to talk about, maybe you want to see the content under dictionary, once you click here to output dictionary information, then you see the syntax and other things you can do, except you refuse to learn. There are a lot of things you can come here. So these are resourceful location. You can get information. You can expand your skill as far these topics are involved. All right. So now you either use that DIR or you come to documentation. You can say, I will recommend you come to documentation. If you just want to know the name, you can use that DIR, which is what? Directory. But you want to know the name, you want to get some explanation, you want to view the syntax, please contact what? The Python what? Documentation. Every function in Python has documentation. So you can see the reason why it's very simple to learn. So you have a lot of ways of helping yourself out when you are stuck. All right. So we want to look at the last one for today because I just want to make sure that I finish the advanced data type like I promised last time. You can see the way we are going fast. So the last class all through was spent on the list. You can see we are using the background knowledge of that list to be able to run faster. So quickly, let's look at what? Python what? Sets. It's just like the sets that we were taught in secondary school. Sets, right? So what is a set in Python? So set is what? An on order. Is an on order. On order is an on order command. Then mutable also. Mutable. Collection. So you can say of unique item. Unique what? Items. Command meaning no duplicates. So you can see the uniqueness now. No duplicates. Like the list the other time, if you remember, we were able to repeat speaker. But here, you cannot store one item twice. The same item. So they all have their own programming what? Functions. So let's look at the syntax. Let's also look at the syntax for set. Now, but before that, what kind of bracket does set use? Set use the same bracket sorry, the same bracket tuple used. The same bracket. Now the center is, so let's just create a set of numbers. So let's say create set of numbers. Create a set of what? Numbers. Create a set of numbers. So let's just say numbers equals to, so I will, sorry, I think the syntax is the same bracket the other one used, which is a dictionary. So I will just call some number, let's say 40, let's say 50, let's say 60, let's say 70. All right. So if I run it, no error, meaning accepted. So let's print the sets by saying print, and then I will just type the number. So if I run it, it print out this. Now let's confirm that statement that you can only have unique value in a set. That is, numbers are not allowed to be repeated. Let's say I want to repeat 40 now. And then you run it. You see that what? You have 240, but only 140 was returned. So if I have 70, if I put 70 there, that means I'm expecting 270, right? But to print only what? 170. So what set does is that while trying to print the value, if you discover that one is the same, it will print only one of these. Now, let me test us. I know we all went through secondary school. If you can still remember set, interset. We have set union. Remember all these set intersets. Who can tell us what is set interset? I know I have some persons here that can still tell us that, so that you know what is happening now. So it's only printing unique. Can anybody help us with that? Please, very fast.
We have union, we have intersection.
We have which other one again? I know
Union,
we have union, we have prime, Abi. We have intersets,
intersection.
intersection, good. So what is happening here now, sir? Which of them can you qualify this? Though we are working with one set, so if we want to start unary set now, we will now start having, okay, what is in set A?
This is intersection.
Good. That is what? Intersection. So that same set. So there are also functions. If you go to it documentation, that will spell out all those types of what set that he mentioned. So you can find out that on your own. So any questions so far? Any question? Any question? Any question? So if there's no question, let me look at how to add. Let me just take a few of them. Adding new item to sets. So how do I add new item? Let's say I want to add 100 to this set. The syntax will be, you invoke the current set, which is number, and then you concatenate it with what? Add function. So it has its own manipulating function, add. Then I will just say, okay, I'm adding what? This. Then remember that for me to see it, let me print first to know whether there's error, no error. Now I need to reprint it before I can get the updates. So I can just reprint what? Numbers. I can just reprint numbers. So once I reprint number, you can see that what? It added what? The new one. Now you can also remove. So you check the other one yourself, how to remove. Remove item from set. How to remove item from set. So the syntax will simply be, we call back the set container and then concatenate what? Remove. Right? Then you have to specify the very one you are removing. So let's say I'm removing the 100 that we added and then run it. There's no error. Then I would reprint to check. Reprint numbers. Once I run it, so say that what we take it. Now, if you want to go and check now, let's go to the documentation. We have set here, set. Let's go to good. We have set here. So you can see this is a set of what? String. And then you can check other documentation. Say, you can search randomly, or let's go back there and look at this. Let me find out something. So let's say I print, and I say dir, then set. All right, so and I run it. So I have some related method I can also use. Let me check. We have new, we have reduce, we have clear, we have copy, we have difference, we have discard, we have, so you can see intersection, intersect update, we have pop, we have remove. So all this one you can go, we have union, we have updates, right? So go and research on them, and then that will bring us to the end of this section. So it's assumed that I have already walked us through the advanced data type. So the next class, I will either work with functions or I work with control structure. So it's a class that you must not miss. That is where the main programming logic will be discovered. So make sure that, so like I said, I am giving room for whether you are an adult or not to pay 1,000 naira between now and Thursday, because of I have already given that window to some persons that actually reach out already. So I just want to, because I know a lot of persons that joined that group, but because we say adults have to pay 5,000, they could not make it. So I'm still going to update it, but if you have anyone, this Zoom can only take 100 person per time. And I know we still have enough space to accommodate people. So if you have anybody, let them key in. After Thursday, to go back to 5,000, anybody who wants to join again. And they will have access to all the videos that we have covered before. All right, so do we have any question? If there's no question, we draw the curtain here. And then your assignment is to go and dig deep on advanced data type. Make sure that you understand them, because you see them playing out when we start the core programming. Any question? Any question?
Sir, there is a question I want to ask,
Okay, sir.
but it's not relating to this evening class.
Said?
Then my question is not relating to our this evening class.
Okay.
So my question is this: those app that are very light,
Very
like
light.
let's take for example now, like OP app now is very light, and people are planting on it.
Yeah.
And if you compare it to some app that people are not planting on it, but they are very heavy.
Good.
Are they being done by Python programming?
Yes, OPE, they use Python. Most of nowadays app, they use Python. It's Python. And why they are very fast, is the programming logic that was used. Like most of those old apps, there are a lot of factors that will make app to be very slow. There are a lot of factors. So it's not just the logic, the volume of code, the app control structure, the flow structure, the communication. So sometimes it's just like uh let me use like Nigeria as an example. You know, based on the way our security is structured, is the reason why you are having some insecurity, whether you like it or not. You know that some persons are clamoring for what is it called? State police. The reason is that, yes, those policemen you see in your states, once they get to know that there is an issue somewhere, they will have been able to what? To react immediately and be able to what? To control the whole stuff. But they must work with command. They have to start calling someone in Abuja, and if the person is not on seats, they will have to wait. Before that, so many things will have gone wrong. Now, let me bring into what I'm saying. There are so many apps that are based on the layout of the app that for certain things to respond, so many aspects of the app need to be consulted. And that time you are experiencing that slowness is because you're trying to what? To establish connection between here and here. So a lot of factor based on the logic. And that's to actually salvage that is the reason why all this, somebody can be creating app and create too many variables instead of using this multiple value storage data structure. So just imagine the number of variable the person would duplicate. Just only this, the person must have created 6 variable. And when this app is going to run, it's going to attend to all the variable. So there are a lot of factors. And another one is the server that the app is hosted. These are a lot of things, space, purchase, a lot of things that like the bank now that you use now. Bank now, maybe now is cloud storage. So they purchase a quota and then they install all their apps there. So if somebody purchase and that quota now has a dedicated, internet service provider that makes sure that that domain does not go down. So if somebody put his own app there in a purchase quota, and then if that quota is not responding, can lead to the app also was slowness. So there are a lot of factors, sir. There are a lot of factors. Not because he built with other languages. Mr. Yomi, I think you are the one that asked the question, Abi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the absence of any other question, so I will release.
Sir, hello, sir.
Okay.
I have one question now. This adding of new item to set, like this number, the add you added here, is there any attributes attached to the add and the remove as well?
Is it here? Please check where I'm highlighting now. Are you referring to this place?
Yes. That number, is it number dot add or?
Okay, yes, there is dot there. Yes, number dot add. That number is the name of the. Now, the reason why we are passing this number inside this without putting it in the quotes, because the list is a list of numbers. So, the set is a set of number. If the set is set of strings, let's say fruits, then you are going to quote whatever you are also adding. But the syntax is the name of the set that you want to update dot, because you have to join it as concatenation, dot the add function, then before you supply the value.
Okay, but you don't need to add any attribute to it. Like, hello?
Go ahead, go ahead. Let me get you one.
Like, because when I write my code the same way, the way you write your own, then when I run it, the error I'm getting is tuple.
I catch you for that battery.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's telling me that tuple object has no attributes. Add.
No, this is not tuple. This is set. This is set, please. We have left tuple since now. Mr. Ifeanyi. This particular add is not a function under tuple. It's a function under add. I hope I've made myself clear.
Okay, it's a function under set.
Under set. So maybe you go through the video, you check the one so you don't have this function under tuple. That is why pattern is telling you. But if you're under set, you will get it. All right, guys. So see you tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. for day 6. We are progressing gradually. Bye for now. Good night, everyone.